Much better. Anyways, so, for the over 100 subscribers on this channel, you're probably not thinking to yourself, where the fuck have I been these past 3 months? Honestly, not much has happened. I grew out my hair, I haven't shaved in a couple of weeks, I've been wearing nothing but black, my dick is as small as a Cheeto. Basically, in other words, I haven't really been that mentally stable. But thankfully, one good thing did come out of this quarantine, that being, I'm starring in a new film. Specifically, in a new student film produced by the one and only DELL LUIS Productions. This new film being an American Wild West Shootout 2, a sequel to a short film that DELL LUIS Productions made all the way back in 2017. However, in order to fully understand the plot of this new film, I had to go back and watch the first American Wild West Shootout. And considering that I haven't uploaded in a while, I might as well make a review on this. Now, for some of my high school friends out there who come across this video, you may know that on my Snapchat, I usually tend to post critiques on some of the more recent films. Some of these critiques lasting paragraphs and paragraphs long, usually ended off with a something out of 10 review. However, this will be the first time that I do a video review, especially on a student's film. But nonetheless, as experimentally risky as this is, I believe that this is a great way to cover this film. As I've stated, most of DELL LUIS Productions films are made with the efforts of aspiring filmmakers such as myself, and much like this review, most of their films are recorded with an iPad, so in a way, doing a video review is the most appropriate way to analyze this film. So, without further ado, let's review an American Wild West Shootout. First off, let's do a quick overview on this movie. Now, this movie is 19 minutes long, but unfortunately 7 of those minutes are dedicated to either bloopers and outtakes, or filler. And I mean serious filler. Especially during this part towards the end of the film where it was obvious that previous scenes were repurposed for flashback scenes, which I understand was for dramatic effect, but this took up 3 minutes of the film. In addition, a majority of this film is dedicated to nothing but action shots, which I have nothing against, but that just means less time for the story and its characters. Hell, the entire story is pretty much summarized in this description alone, which reads, "This takes place in 1858. Earl and his group have to defeat the Puppet King and his people in order to get the money to save his family. Subscribe to DELL LUIS Productions today." Followed by a bunch of music copyright claims. Honestly, for me personally, these flashback scenes would have been a lot more effective if we were given more context behind some of these characters. For example, it would have been interesting to see the backstory of this horse character. He looks interesting. I honestly wish we could have learned more about him so that we could understand why his death was so important. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that the lack of story is what prevents this film from fully expressing its dramatic moments. Or at least what I think is supposed to be dramatic. Thankfully, one thing does make up for the lack of story in this film, that being Now let's talk about the actors and their characters. Now, there are only a total of 6 actors throughout this entire film, 2 of which have to play multiple characters, and unfortunately there were no actresses in this film whatsoever. But then again, this was filmed back in middle school. I'm pretty sure no girl wanted to have any involvement in this whatsoever. But even with the lack of actors, you can tell these kids were having fun filming this. From the Nerf guns and the Movie Maker special effects to the out-of-place costumes, you can definitely tell that this film has a lot of that middle school charm to it. And yes, even the acting has some of that awkward charm.
Stop.
Get on your knees. Get on your knees.
No.
the characters that these actors portray also have a bunch of charm to them as well. For example, we got Earl Creekberg, who is the leader of some of the Wild West's most infamous vigilantes. One of these vigilantes being Luis, who appropriately is played by and named after the movie's director. And of course you've got your villains. You've got Shane Blair, you've got Crazy Jack, and you've got the film's biggest bad guy of them all, the Puppet King. Now, as silly as the idea of a puppet being a Western crime boss may sound, I honestly believe this is one of the most creative characters in the entire film, and somehow, this puppet still manages to fit in with all the other characters in this film. At first I was definitely caught off guard by the hilariously bad dubbing for this character.
You never killed the leader?
But over time, I slowly began to appreciate this character for at least bringing something new to Western films. In my opinion, it's almost reminiscent of when Jim Henson would grab his Muppets and give them life. Overall, actor or puppets, these characters were a blast to watch and were pretty much the best aspects of this film in my opinion. Were they the best actors? Of course not, but they definitely succeeded at doing one thing: creating memorable characters. So, what do I think of an American Wild West Shootout? Well, it's not a perfect movie, but I'll admit, I couldn't help but to smile while watching this entire movie. This film took me back to a time when I myself once attempted to make these sort of films that were full of action, fun, and overall stupidity. As a critic, I usually tend to take these sort of films seriously, but when watching this film in particular, I knew that this film was made when DELL LUIS Productions was just getting started, so instead of judging this film for its flaws, I just enjoyed it for what it is. This film reminded me that not all films have to be taken seriously, especially films that were made back in middle school, so I say when watching this film, have some fun. And with that, I'm giving this film a 7.9 out of 10. Now, if you were looking forward to an actual student film to legitimately enjoy, then I wouldn't say this would be the film to watch. However, the upcoming sequel is definitely building up to be much better than this film. This sequel will focus more on the story and the overall setup of this Western world. In addition, unlike the other films on DELL LUIS Productions YouTube channel, this film will be much longer in length, being one of their first feature films lasting over an hour long. And yes, with a bigger story comes a bigger cast of characters, more actors and actresses this time around, including me! Hey, won't you look at that? So, I hope you look forward to watching an American Wild West Shootout 2 when it comes out on the DELL LUIS Productions YouTube channel on July 12th. And when you get the chance, I say go ahead and check out the first film as well, because even if the second film may seem better in every way than the first film, I say it's still important to look back at a director's past works in order to fully appreciate their newer films. So go ahead and give DELL LUIS Productions some support and say Ron John sent you. But until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.
What the fuck did I just watch? Shane Blair? It can't be.
What the hell?
See this town? How do we take over this? Find that vigilante? Kill him. What do you say?
What I hear is one crazy son of a bitch.
I'ma put your lights out. We can do this right now. I'm ready for war.
I'm here now!